as you already can see by my drink of choice, today's episode is being recorded later in the day. However, and for everybody just listening and not watching on YouTube, I have a big wine glass in my hand with what looks like a rosé. However, interestingly enough, it is Poppies. Poppies has become my drink of choice when I want to have a cute little drink in the evening and don't want alcohol. Having said that, based on the drink, this is going to be a evening conversation for us today, and I love your guys' support and the conversations and the downloads I've been seeing on the podcast recently. If that is solo episodes, if that is episodes with my amazing guests, I wanted to give all of you a big shout out and say thank you. You make all of this worth it. And worth it is exactly the topic I want to talk about today. One of the things that has been coming up more and more recently again is imposter syndrome. Is the I'm not good enough, I don't know enough. All of these things, all of these voices, all of these conversations of who am I to do this? Everybody else is doing the same thing. How am I different? How am I ever going to make money with this? Me included. I have been going through quite some change behind the scenes. You might have seen, maybe not, as Smalls decides to get comfortable somewhere else. That I have not been as active on Instagram stories as I usually am, because there's been a lot of shifting happening behind the scenes because imposter syndrome hit. And for me, when imposter syndrome hits, I work with it differently. So let's start with, where does my imposter syndrome actually come from? When you meet me on stage or you meet me at a networking event or anything, I'm this, at times, in your face, bold personality, right? I show up with shiny red sparkly heels or a 80s neon yellow blazer. I'm bold, I'm in your face, I'm loud, I'm energetic, I'm passionate, I'm all the things, right? So why would I be struggling with imposter syndrome, right? I'm this big personality. Imposter syndrome for me comes up when I'm paying too much attention to everybody else. When working with a coach, actually. Yes, working with a coach literally can trigger imposter syndrome for me. And what I have realized is coaches can trigger my imposter syndrome when they're just telling me what to do rather than trying to figure out what is the right thing for me. So I've been talking about this in the past. We've done videos on it where I believe a good coach asks questions and a great coach asks questions for you to figure out what's happening inside of you. So with that, if somebody just wants to slap their systems, their process, their belief system onto me, it triggers me. And initially it shows up as imposter syndrome and I'm not good enough. Imposter syndrome for me also shows up when I'm paying too much attention to what everybody else is doing. We know how this goes, right? We are doing, quote, research to figure out what reels are working right now, or what YouTube videos we should produce, or how we build a good hook, or what others are doing in our niche. And honestly, every time I go down that rabbit hole, it ends up in me feeling like shit And like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And with that, I don't even think it's a pushing forward when imposter syndrome hits. I think it is more of a coming back home, coming back to yourself. Imposter syndrome, to me, literally 95% of the time is because I give too much importance or I pay too much attention to something externally. And so how do I work through imposter syndrome and I'm proud of myself? And there's multiple things going on all at the same time. When I feel like I'm not good enough, I don't know what I'm talking about, I check just how much time I spend consuming content, consuming social media, consuming what other people are doing. And I'm not talking about reading books so much. It's usually more social media doom scrolling. It's usually more of watching YouTube videos and doing research where I start questioning. I'm like, is my view of the world just so screwed up? What's happening here? And then the secondary thing I check when imposter syndrome hits is, have I taken care of myself? So number one, how much do I pay attention to external things that are happening? And then number two, how much have I been taking care of myself? As you might have heard, I've been really working on, let's call it optimizing my brain function, optimizing what thoughts I'm thinking, what the voices in my head are talking about, optimizing my sleep, optimizing my movement, and really figuring out how I can be my best self, which looks different on each given day of the month as well as throughout the weeks and the days. So things do change. I would love to just have a freaking blueprint for every day being the same. Unfortunately, it's not. But I have an overlaying framework. I have a good idea that when anxiety hits, chances are I haven't moved enough. That I am a people person, but I also have social anxiety and I get overwhelmed. So really finding this balance between stretching my comfort zone and doing something new and recharging. So again, how do I deal with imposter syndrome? Number one, eliminate external influences. Number two, come back to what you know works for you. And if you don't know what works for you, it is time to start collecting data. If you've been on my Instagram, you know I've been wearing the Aura ring. Oh my God, I don't even know. I've had a multitude of these rings now. Since generation 2, I'm actually grandfathered into their membership. They have replaced it a couple of times. I'm trying to think, probably like 3 years, 4 years at least. And it's the one piece that I have never taken off. What I love about the Aura ring is that it also gives me data. They're still just starting to really get into the energy levels of women. However, I have collected data thanks to the Aura ring that tells me, don't even try to be creative today. Don't try to go crazy. Don't try to be too active. So even though Aura themselves in their app is just starting to work to really bring women's health more into their numbers, I have the numbers and can do that calculation for myself. It's also the least intrusive wearable for me rather than the Apple Watch, which I still wear too. And based on those numbers, having been able to build what's right for me and understanding the balance better of what my day needs to look like, what I want my day to look like to feel the best, to be the best I can be. And with that, some of the most recent changes when it comes to that has been our YouTube channel, has been testing specifically YouTube videos and scraping things and being like, no, we are not doing this. Because I realized, yeah, I can teach you the features of ClickUp. I can do all of that. Not a problem. Do I want it? Not always. Not always. I loved the series we did back in the day of First Look, where we just got to play, no expectations. Nobody expected me to teach you exactly how the thing is going and how to implement it. We just played with it. We just tested things out. And I might just at some point bring that series back. But what I found with my YouTube content is I am not feeling that there were a couple videos where I got done recording and I felt like shit. I felt dumb. I felt like, what the hell am I doing here? I have no business doing this. Literally right after recording that video. And I realized the pattern that when I don't have a physical example and a story that goes along with what I'm teaching in the video, I feel like I have no business doing so. So there is a lot of features in ClickUp. I'm just using ClickUp as an example, right? There's a lot of features in ClickUp, and we are not using every single one of them. And if you've been around my YouTube channel, you know that there is things I love doing in ClickUp, and there's things where I'm going to tell you, hells to the no, why are you doing this in ClickUp? It makes no freaking sense. So I have never produced videos that I don't believe in and where I'm saying, you should do this in ClickUp, and I do not stand behind it. Now, I had to take this to a whole nother level, meaning I realized that when I teach something that I don't regularly use, I can tell you the feature, I know how it works, I know how it integrates. The technical knowledge is there, though even though the technical knowledge is there, if I don't have a specific use case that we have run, that we have tested, that we have done multiple times, I don't feel good telling that story. I don't feel good recording those videos. And I realized the pattern that I was really, really fighting back to record those videos. And I didn't want them. I didn't want to promote them. I didn't want to talk about them. It was like pulling teeth. So coming back around, we talked about stop listening to the outside, become quiet, listen within when imposter syndrome hits. Stop researching. Stop looking what everybody else is doing. They're doing their thing. You are doing your thing. Collect, and there's a little bonus thing that I do too. Collect positive feedback, collect comments from webinars, collect client testimonials, collect those in your badass EV folder. Insert your own name right there. And when the bad voices in your head start telling you you're not good enough and you shouldn't be doing this, fall back and let your past clients and your community tell you that you can. And then ask yourself if it's in a specific situation, if it's doing something specific and it keeps repeating itself. Ask yourself why this thing keeps coming back around. Why is this coming up? That's how I figured out that, okay, if I don't have a full-on client use case and a story that I can tell with it and it's just the dry, here's how you need to do this, that's when doubt hits, when imposter syndrome comes up. I saw the pattern, and now we literally this morning on the team call went through, and Libby is like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, you know what? I really don't feel this whole 5-tool video. I feel like we have to do it, but I just don't. She's like, no, fuck that, just throw it out. And we just threw it out. That's the joy of running your own business. Are there always going to be a couple of things that you might need to do for your business because your business needs it and you don't want to do them? Yeah, they will come around. But the more and more you listen and you see those patterns that you run when imposter syndrome comes up, the more you see those patterns, the more you're going to be able to work with them or around them. Either you stop doing certain things, or imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, for example, could be triggered by online trolls. We all have them, right? They're happening everywhere all the time. It just is. It's the name of the game. If you're putting yourself out there, they're going to come. Now, as somebody that feels deeply, however, I'm also lucky at the point where it's like, really? This is your problem, not my problem when I read a troll. However, I do have days where everything can just hit really deep in the fields. Why not outsource that? Why not outsource the things you don't want to deal with? If online comments have the tendency to hit you in the fields because it's your baby, because they're calling you names for no reason, don't look at the comments. Have somebody on your team that monitors comments, that replies to standard questions, that engages, that sends you the comments that only you really have to be commenting on, and then decides what to do with the trolls and the bad people. Heck, there's even spam bots out there, right? So you can change pattern, you can eliminate things, you can outsource things. And last but not least, one of the biggest lessons in figuring out imposter syndrome and how to manage it, how to have it less and less and be proud of what I'm doing, is keeping promises to myself. And it's not just so much even that it's promises, it is statements. What do I mean by that? If I say in the morning, I'm going to get this, and that done. Sometimes, right, we know how long to-do lists can be. If that to-do list is still the same length by the end of the day, and I said, I'm going to get this to-do list done, I lied to myself. I didn't do what I said I'm going to do. And it has taken quite some work, because there's a multitude that feeds into this, quote, not lying to yourself. It means you have to clearly understand what each of your tasks, what each of your work entails. So you can't be doing these, oh yeah, it's just going to take 5 minutes, I'm going to do this really quick. Because now you're going to have 5-minute tasks that each take 5 hours, and you end up lying to yourself. Understanding, and I'm using the to-do list as an example because it's the perfect example to physically have something. And I have fallen into this habit as of late again, where I put more on my plate and I tell my assistant, when she asks me, I love how she holds me accountable. When she asks me, what are you going to do? What are you getting done today? What are you getting done this week? And as of recent, I have started to add way too many things to my to-do list again. And not finishing it. Not finishing it by the dates I'm going to say, not finishing even in the week I'm going to say. And guess what has happened? Imposter syndrome is creaking in again. which is one of the reasons why I also wanted to do this episode, to remind me, but also share my journey with you and give you some tips on what has worked for me to really manage this imposter syndrome and the belief I'm not good enough. Because we all are. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. So with that, let's recap one more time so that you have a couple of things nice in a list that you can pay attention to. Stop scrolling social media. Stop comparing. Put your phone on a timer. Pay attention how much you are spending on it. If you are finding yourself to scroll because you're bored, go get a Kindle, go read, go do something, go out of the house, walk the dog, whatever it is. Interrupt that pattern of just scrolling on your phone to, quote, research. Secondary, what can help with that is set specific time intervals for research. I can't do, quote, research for an hour. 20 minutes of specific research for a specific video and done, and then get off. Set a timer for it, get off. And keep that promise to yourself. When that timer goes off, you are leaving social media and putting it down. Stop listening to everybody telling you what you're supposed to do. If your coach, your mentor, is not asking you questions to help you figure out which of their systems and frameworks works best for you and how you need to adjust it so it works as well for you, run for the hills. All of these systems work, but you're not going to fit that box. So you need to build your own version of the framework you were being taught. So eliminate people just telling you what you should do. We are not shooting all over ourselves. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention that you get your sleep, that you get your movement in, that in my case, I can have a drink one night and my sleep is going to completely disintegrate if I have a drink a second night in a row. I know that. That's just how my body is right now. So I found drinks that give me the same feeling of having a nice, fancy, big wine glass. And a drink that is, for me, it's a drink that is not as sweet as soda. Whatever it is. I found my solution to have something that I like experience without screwing up my body. And be you. You have the answers within you. You have the answers within you. Start collecting how people respond to it. Start collecting the celebration when other people tell you, yes, you are on the right path. Remind yourself of that because you are amazing. You are here for a reason. You have a message to share. And I don't want that bullshit of imposter syndrome and the voices in your head of people that are afraid of your possibility stopping you from sharing your message. And with that, I actually want to invite you. I'm going to plop in the application form for the podcast in my description. You want to share your message? Pop in, submit your information. At the moment, we are done with this batch recording. We're going to batch record again in a few months. You got a message to share? Kick that imposter syndrome in the ass? Pop on my submission list and maybe I'll see you in one of the upcoming podcasts. And with that, I'm going to enjoy my drink. You hopefully enjoyed this podcast and subscribed and followed so you get to see more of my journey and the journeys my guests have experienced right here on the She is a Leader podcast. I'll see you in the next episode.